Here.
Vice Chair Montana,
Present.
Treasurer Smith,
Present.
Secretary Ardro is present, and then moving to my right, Commissioner Maddox.
Here.
Amin,
Here.
McKee,
Here.
Howard,
Here.
Bates,
Here.
Marcus, here, Carr,
Present.
and Fagan. Commissioner Neal and Commissioner Kepler, who didn't be here, absent. We were met 12-14.
All right, moving on to the call for additions, deletions of the July agenda. I do have two things to add on the presentations. We're going to hear from Zone in Columbus, and then under new business, we're going to be appointing the vacant seat. Then any other additions or deletions for the July agenda? Seeing none, can we do a all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the approval of the meeting minutes from June. Any comments, discussions, additions, deletions? All right, can I get a motion to pass the June meeting minutes?
Archer, I will motion.
Also, seconded by Marcus. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Moving on to City of Columbus staff reports. We're gonna start with the Division of Police. President, City Attorney's Office. He is present. To be Rob Dorson. Did I pronounce it right?
Dorson.
Dorson.
Yeah.
I tried.
It's a weird name.
We're halfway through the year and it's hot outside.
Yeah, I hear you.
We'll toggle on the top.
I looked at every side but the top. Obvious. All right, there we go. So I am going to say that from time to time, I do lose track of what has happened between meetings and sometimes what I've already told you about, but I think in terms of criminal related news and stuff over the last few weeks, I'll just note real briefly. Patrol officers a couple weeks ago executed a search warrant at an owner occupied home, 382 South Terrace. They did recover narcotics. This was a case that was brought before the environmental court. Court certainly heard some evidence that any issues at the house, despite being owner occupied, were not being caused by the owner. The court did impose an order that limits access to the home pretty severely, restricts access, I should say, for the time being. I think that's the only new thing that I have for tonight. Just to give folks a heads up on any questions for me.
The questions from commissioners? The audience?
Would you mind repeating the address for me?
382 South Terrace. That's property overseas. Also has a code case in which we have filed a motion for contempt that has been, and the community complaints have been related to exterior storage. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, appreciate it. We're moving on to City Council Division of Community Engagement. Jocelyn Martinez Cortez is not here, but filling in is Catherine Call.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Hall. I'm new to City Council. I came from the Department of Neighborhoods with lovely old PCD. Commissioners, I share my announcements with you, so it sounds like I'm sharing most of these with the public. The first one is a reminder. Are you guys aware of the 614 local grants? I will still share the hot cards. Those applications are due July 7th. I will pass over Zone In if Zone In is here to discuss, provide an update tonight. Columbus City Council and Department of Neighborhoods partnered on an initiative to examine the impact of deer in the city of Columbus. I don't know if deer is an issue within your community. It seems to be in a lot of communities. So we are encouraging people to fill out the survey. It takes about 5 minutes to see the impact in your neighborhoods and potential solutions to the deal. So I will hand out these hot cards. If you could just take a moment and take that survey. And finally, as it continues to be really hot in the summertime, starting today, the Crisis Summer Program through Impact Community Action Network has started. It is a one-time benefit to help with cooling assistance for Franklin County residents. I encourage you, if you're interested in, just Google Impact Community Action Network, Columbus, Ohio. And there are some income qualifications, but that is a way to receive it. Those are my announcements.
Any questions from commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Chair. So Ms. Catherine, congrats again on your new position, City Council, lovely to have you, thanks for being here. So I have a question, so the mayor recently announced his capital improvement budget, and so at this point, it'll be given to City Council. Do you know if there will be any upcoming engagement sessions?
There will be. I don't have those dates and times yet, but more to come on that, but there will be, we are seeking community input on that.
Okay, thank you,
Yes.
and I know that it was just announced, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just had a meeting today. I think the mayor is gonna be doing some engagement as well as city council to see community feedback.
Okay, that's great to hear, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions from the community? Awesome, thank you so much for being here. Moving on to Department of Neighborhood, OBC Eddie, West Side Neighborhood Leads.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have very many announcements for you this evening. The next area commissioner training will be on July 26th at 10 a.m. It's for planning variance and rezoning. It's one of the trainings where we'll have multiple times. I think this is the second time we've hosted it. We'll host it once more. Highly recommend, especially to our newer commissioners, if you've not taken this training, to do so. It's very informative. But if you have already taken it, we do ask that you not register for this particular training because there are limited seats and it does tend to fill up quickly. So you should be receiving an email if you haven't already from David Huey to register very soon. And one other announcement, the rollout of the new website for the area commissions has been pushed back. I know initially it was set to roll out on July 4th, but now it's been pushed back to no later than July 31st. You should have received an email from Wix to register. I think only the 2 designated representatives should receive that. If you haven't, please let me know and I'll reach out to Juliana on your behalf from Neighborhood Design Center. But other than that, those are the only updates I have for you. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yes.
I did not get one.
You did not get one? Okay, thanks for letting me know. I will reach out to Juliana.
Mr. Vargas, did you get that email?
I did this afternoon.
Any other questions from commissioners? Any questions from the audience? All right, we'll move on pretty quickly, so.
Right, thank you so much.
Department of Neighborhood, Nick Plow or Kevin Moore.
Everyone, I'm Kevin Orr. I'm the lead pastor of the Hilltop Cooperative Parish and the co-convener of the Envision Hilltop Advisory Team. Just a quick update. We had our most recent advisory team meeting back last Friday, the 25th. We had a really informative update from Catherine Swidowski about the Vision Zero project that she's been working on. Some updates on some really good numbers backing up that the work that's being done to reduce crashes is being effective, which is good. We also got a report from Hannah Mullen about Blueprint Columbus and also the lead replacement update. The city is working on replacing lead pipes and galvanized steel pipes, both on the city service side and in individual homes, private homes. Here on the hilltop, if your home is going to be affected, then you're going to get a notification because they'll have to actually go into your home to do that replacement. So just stay tuned. Trust me, they will let you know. if they're gonna be getting into your house. They're not gonna show up unannounced. Also, we got an update on a really helpful resource on the Envision Hilltop website. If you go to envisionhilltop.com, we have a plan update report on there, which is very interesting. We've gone through and looked at all the various goals in the Envision Hilltop plan and have indicated work progress, whether anything has been done, things are in progress, or if it's completed. And so that's just really cool to see how things are happening, but there's still work that needs to be done. So I would encourage you to go to envisionhilltop.com and look up the plan update report and take a look at that. And then we just got some other updates from our subcommittee chairs. It's a very informative meeting. And again, you can stay up to date on everything that's happening by going to envisionhilltop.com. Any questions?
Any questions from commissioners, audience? Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, last but not least, Hilltop Rise, if anybody's here.
No updates for today.
Awesome, thanks. Sorry, I didn't see you behind that.
May I ask Danny a question though?
Yeah, are you up for answering questions?
If you want. The Family Dollar closed recently and the Dollar General as well, I understand. There's still a need for clean, healthy, affordable grocery stores in the area. Have you heard about that at all? Do you know what happened, and are you familiar with any plans for redevelopment?
Waiting to hear back from the owners, but
I appreciate it.
it's fine. Waiting to hear back from the owners. One of our board members has some connections. I guess I'm unclear if one of the buildings sold, the one in Highland West. But just kind of waiting to hear more. But yeah, understand the urgency and the sensitivity to losing a grocery and then not having a replacement. But I don't really know a whole lot yet. But
I appreciate it.
I'll plan on following up with you.
Okay, thank you.
We got a question from City Attorney's Office.
There is $80. Thanks.
Cool. Can you repeat that? I kind of didn't hear it.
Yeah, I just mentioned maybe that if there is any difficulty getting in touch with Family Dollar Incorporated specifically, notify the city clerk's office.
Thanks for the assistance. Was there any other questions from the community? Awesome. Moving along to announcements. Do any commissioners have announcements? No, we're gonna go around the table. Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. So as a lot of you know, one of the best events on the Hilltop is coming up, Summer Jam West. So that'll be July 19th at Westgate Park. From 12 to 7. We're gonna have over 40 artists and artists and vendors, live local music all day. And I'll be emceeing the event, so you get to see me there. I don't have a radio voice like Brandon Barkus over here, but I do have a pretty cool bucket hat. So come out and see me. We're gonna have a great time, some great artists and musicians there. So, and if this doesn't fit in your pocket, I have some cards here. I'll put them over here on the table. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Commissioner Montana, any announcements?
Hilltop newsletter is over on the table.
Awesome. Commissioner Ardero.
Check, 1, 2. Thank you. I always have a few. For anyone interested, the 2025 to 2029 Franklin County Consolidated Plan and 2025 Action Plan for Economic Development Planning is currently open. This is the county's economic development process. They are available for public comment and review, and any comments that you wish to share can go to communitydevelopment@franklinohio.gov, and responses will be accepted until July 17th. One of our own West Side high school graduates was awarded a college university I Know I Can scholarship. So I want to shout out and give big kudos to Natalie McKibben from Briggs High School, who plans to attend Capital University in the fall. That scholarship provides up to $10,000 a year for 4 years of college attendance. So congratulations to Natalie. Alianza 614 is hosting their Happy Backpack program on August 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Westgate Rec Center. They help provide families with backpacks, school supplies, shoes, and other family resources. Again, that's Alonzia 614 on August 2nd at Westgate from 10 to 2. The Columbus City Schools Back to School Resource Fair is August 16th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Fort Hayes, and I will be there representing Commission. 614 grants already been mentioned. Reminder that Columbus has utility bill assistance available for utility discounts as needed for anyone seeking discounts or special payment plans. The way I find it, I just serve Columbus Housing Assistance and get to the assistance with utility bills link. On July 25th, the Summer Splash with President Hardin, that's Council President Hardin, is coming up. It's a friendly event, and the reason I mentioned it is because it will be at Glenwood. The Glenwood pool, newly renovated, it's a beautiful big pool, 1885 Fairmont Avenue. Again, that's Friday, July 25th from 2 to 3:30, live music, dancing, complimentary suites. The Columbus City Council Candidate Community Forum, one of a few that I've seen, August 13th. This is provided by Franklinton Board of Trade, hosting the Community Forum for District 7 candidates Jesse Vogel and Tiara Ross. That's Wednesday, August 13th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Witch Lab, which I just want to shout out Witch Lab. Go and see a show there. It's really fun. And then if anyone is in need of free civil legal aid, the Legal Aid Society of Southeast and Central Ohio can be reached at lasco.org.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Max, do you have any announcements? Announcements on this one? No? Okay.
Hi, everyone. It's on. Okay. I just have two announcements. One, I wanna announce that something that my community is going through, something happened over the weekend, like due to gun violence. So if anybody has any research that you would like to share with me to help the grieving family, that would be very helpful to the community. And then the second announcement I would like to announce is I would like to host Somali Bantu Culture Day on October 18th. So I just want to put it on the map. It will be 2 to 7 p.m.
Commissioner Howard, do you have any announcements? Bates? Marcus?
Good evening, everyone. I did want to give an update. As of June 24, we had 72 days of reading between all of our area commissioners. For those of you who are not aware, we are doing the summer reading challenge that is being hosted by our wonderful Hilltop Library and Columbus Metropolitan Library. This is continuing until 31 July, so the end of the month. You have every opportunity to join. Please help highlight how important reading is in the Hilltop and Central Ohio, and look forward to providing more updates. Everyone, keep reading.
Thank you. Commissioner Carr? Commissioner Fagan?
No one else.
Moving on to presentations. First, we have Central Ohio Parent Leadership. Have asked to come up Carla Poole and I'm gonna butcher it, I guess Mercedes.
Good evening, everyone. We want to thank the commissioner.
There we go.
Do you hear me with us?
Well, it's for the people at home too.
Gotcha, okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Carla Poole. I'm the Executive Director of Central Ohio Parent Leadership Training Institute. I want to thank the commissioners for allowing us to present this evening. We want to share with you what we do for the community working with parents. So we offer, starting in 2018, a 20-week program or initiative to empower parents to have their voices heard in the community. We know that there are several things that are happening within our community, budget-wise, et cetera, that we need parent voice. We need to hear from parents what is important to them and their household and in their communities. So we offer a program free to the parents, it's 20 weeks. And we empower them with different tools that they need that is already in their toolkit. And we give them the confidence to use those tools to be able to present as we are doing this evening, perhaps even present to city council, testify at the state house, all the things that are needed to hear parent voice, because it's important for the community and the leadership of our community to hear from our parents and what is important to them. So the classes, for example, range from, we will talk about the life cycle of a child, because we need to know those things. We also talk about intentional use of language, as we are presenting what language needs to be used so that you can be heard and seen. We talk about, how does the state work? How does the city work? Who are your leaders? Some of our parents don't know who their state reps are. So how to look up public policy. What is public policy? So those are the things that we do to empower parents to have their voices heard in the community. We have over 200 graduates in English, about 50 graduates in Spanish, because we teach the class in Spanish as well. And we also have it for our youth. So we have about 25 CLTI, which is Children's Leadership Training Institute. So we offer this, it's offered at Mount Carmel Health Living Center. It's a hybrid. So half of the class is online, half of the class is in person at Mount Carmel. We thank them for giving us that space. So I'm going to turn it over to Belkis Mercedes, and she's going to share more. There's a lot more that we do, but we're putting this in a very small time frame, and we want to open it up for questions as well. I turn it over to Belkis. I was gonna say, thank you, Carla, you covered it.
Questions?
Good evening, my name is Belkis Mercedes, and I am the site coordinator for the Central Ohio Parent Leadership Training Institute. And as Carla shared, we hold two groups. The groups are, one is in English, the other one is in Spanish. So we try to cover all the materials in different languages to expand to the community. It is a 20-week program. A lot of times, people will say 20 weeks is a lot because we're working, taking care of children, doing a lot of activity, but the topics that we speak in the group are very enlightening. So we speak about the process of change, how to identify a problem. And I heard a couple of the issues in the community, but the question is, how do you identify a problem and how do you deal with it? So during the 20 weeks, we cover all those pieces. And, we focus on transformation. So a lot of times people will come in and they don't even have a clue who the representative is, what to do, how to go to city council. So we have a guest speaker from the community, from different areas of the community, that will come in and speak about what they do and what they're all about. We have had Judge Green come into our class, Kim, Tim? No. Help me, Carlos. Judge Brown.
Yes.
So we have representatives from different part of the community that will come in and speak about what they do. The other thing we do is help parents network. Networking is a big thing, and also advocating for themselves, going into the schools, learning the hierarchy and making sure that they advocate for what their children need. So we are about transformation. We cover all barriers. We want to make sure that when the parents enroll, and I'm saying parents, but you don't have to be a parent. You just have to be a citizen that is interested in making a change in the community. After the 20 weeks, during the 20 weeks, the participants, I'll say it this way, the participants have to complete a community project. So the community project is something that they're passionate about. I had one participant, and his community project was keep Hilltop safe. He spoke about the garbage, he spoke about the lack of lighting, he spoke about the sidewalk. He went all around, knocking on the door, speaking about his community project. So knowing how to identify the problem and also deal with the problem, and also what else do you do aside from identifying the issue through to city council? So it's step by step of what they need to do in order to continue to work on that community project. And as Carla mentioned, we have about, right now, we have about 230 community projects that participants are still working. 911, somebody had a community project and the title was Each Minute Counts. You call the police in this area. Sometimes they'll make it, sometimes they don't, because we understand that right now the police department is short. So these are the issues that a lot of our families are identifying, and they're also to labor. So at the end, we have a great graduation. We hold our graduation at the State House. We go all out because we feel that they are. So having this type of a meeting and also sitting at the table, not just to take instructions, but to be part of making those decisions. That is important to us, and we want parents to be part of the decision. So we have open enrollment. There's no excuse. It doesn't matter what language they speak. We are enrolling participants to our next cohort, our next group. So any questions, any suggestions? We have flyers that you can take with you, and you can also share them to anyone you feel that will benefit from Central Ohio Parent Leadership Training Institute. You can look us up on Facebook as well.
Do we have any alumni in the room? Yes. I just wanted to share, it does work. And I won't put Ronette on the spot, but she is a graduate. And we really appreciate her and the work that she's doing in the community. So the work that we do, all we do is empower parents, give them the confidence to go do what's important to them. So I just wanted to share that, and look us up, Facebook. We just had an event. You may see us partying a little bit. We had a paint and fellowship because we do believe parents and allies need to let their hair down for a moment, right, before they go back to work. So look us up on Facebook, look up our website. Class will start in November, and we really would like for you to enroll or suggest someone to enroll into our program. Any questions for us?
And then the 20-week course is a single day, like a week, correct?
Yes, great question. And we have an all-day retreat, which is the first class that we have, which is all day. And we feed you to keep you awake, candy, chocolate, juice. And then we have classes from 1 to 20, one night a week for 3 hours, from 6 to 9. And you may say that's a long time, but it is not, because our conversations and the information we're sharing, so the parents are learning from each other as well. We do believe in having a class full of individuals that are different from themselves. So you also are learning from someone that may be slightly different from you. They may eat different food. They may look different than you. I'm avoiding using a certain word because it seems to be taboo right now. So, but our class is based on that. We have to have individuals in the classroom that are different from one another, because that's how we create change, right? To hear everyone's voice, everyone's walk is different. So that's one of the things we thrive on.
And anyone is welcome. And we invite you, if you would like to come in as a guest speaker, to speak about the services that you perform, they're always open. So if there's no questions, I want to thank you for this opportunity.
So are there any questions from commissioners? Anybody from the community?
One question, I think you already answered that. My name's Aaron Bennett. I live in this area. I think you said it's open to anyone. I was going to ask, are there any restrictions in terms of income level, municipality, location, county, nothing like that? You're open to everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Up next on presentation is gonna be Zone in Columbus, Stephanie Nicer. Yes. Sorry, I'm not good with names. I don't know why they put me in this position.
There's Shane. Sit down.
It gave me lots of experience here, so let me get some of this stuff situated. Start with these cards. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Kenza. I'm a planner with the Planning Division for the City of Columbus, and I'm going to talk tonight about the continued work on zoning Columbus. So we have these cards here.
I know.
Is it clear?
prefer it,
Does it clip? Okay, okay. There, this should. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Stephanie Pensler with the Planning Division for the City of Columbus, and I'm going to be giving an update tonight on the efforts of zoning Columbus. So the cards I'm passing around, they have an email address to join our mailing list. And then there's also a QR code on the back that will take you to the website. That is current. So any information, anything I talk about tonight that you need additional information on, you can find it on the website. But what I wanted to talk about is that the city is continuing its work on modernizing the zoning code. We are working to promote growth in ways that meets the needs of the city's growing population and economy. And the focus of this kind of next phase of the work is on economic and housing opportunity. I've got some documents here that I'll pass out. If you scan the QR code on that card, it will take you to the website. And I think the third option down will also be digital copies of this document. If you are, I don't think I have enough, I think I've only got like 15 or so. You can follow along electronically. We'll go through that document in a few minutes, but first I just wanted to highlight some ways to engage as we kick off this next part of the work. So we already talked about the cards that I passed around. We are also going to be hitting social media quite often. So you can follow the planning division on our Facebook page, we're Columbus Planning. On LinkedIn, we're Columbus Planning Division, and on Instagram, we're Columbus_plan. I think we've probably got 30 posts teed up over the next few months to educate, inform about the different opportunities and things that will be going on in this phase of zoning. Beyond that, we will be doing, in my pack of materials here, we will be doing 4 mapping workshops. I've got, these are on the website as well. Let's see here, pass this around. Again, this information is on the website as well. It looks like this. There will be 4 of the mapping sessions. The first one is July 9th. The one closest to this community will be at West High School on July 23rd from 5 to 7. But you are all invited and welcome to go to any or all of them that are available. Additionally, we will be doing an online map survey that discusses values, land use, and then scale of development. If you took the survey as a part of the phase 1 of the zoning code update, it's very similar. And again, you can get to that by scanning the QR code on that card I passed out. Let's see. So the next thing is this what's next document. So we'll split this up. That's the inclusion, please. Bring this with me so it doesn't put this in. Thank you. Okay. So this what's next document is really just kind of the high level rationale for this next phase of work. It's going to detail what this next phase really entails. I'll leave these copies, but as I said, the digital version is already up and available on the website, so you can read it in depth. I'm just going to go through it really quickly. So as I said, this is the what's next, the next steps for modernizing the zoning code. You can see we have our table of contents here. First, I'd like to draw your attention to page 4, which is just the why. Why are we modernizing the zoning code? The goals for this project are highlighted here. I'm not going to read them for you, but just know that the project goals remain the same as they were in the first phase of this work. So at a high level, we're modernizing our zoning code to reflect our community's current and future needs, values, and aspirations, supporting growth, encouraging thoughtful investment, guide the design and development of main streets, activity centers, and neighborhoods to support community goals, and then ensuring that the Columbus zoning code is fair, understandable, and accessible. Again, I encourage you to read through all of this. And then the next page, there's just some information on the difference between a restrictive code versus an enabling code. If you have any questions about that, or any of the information I'm going to share, the best resource would be to contact the folks through the website, because there is a core team working on this that can get you any of the information that you need. The next section is the next steps. So as I mentioned, this portion of the work is going to focus on economic and housing opportunities. And if you go to page 7, there's more detailed information on what that means. What are the areas of focus? So this work is to support job growth, build more housing, and foster prosperity citywide. And the 3 land uses of focus are really going to be mixed use, which I'll read here as defined as flexible, walkable areas, often along major roads and transit corridors where people can live, work, and gather in the same place. There's also a focus on industrial and warehouse, which is defined as spaces dedicated to jobs like manufacturing, storage, logistics, and distribution. And then business and institutional campuses. So that would be job hubs like hospitals, universities, and office hubs. You may remember that in the phase 1, there was mixed use as a part of that on the primary corridors. You'll notice from the picture that this is a different kind of mixed use generally. We may see some of that higher intensity mixed use, but really the primary mixed use in this area of focus is going to be smaller scale, perhaps a 3-story, or really just looking at the flexibility property owners have to potentially run a business at their home, thing like that. So moving on, this next section talks about opportunity priorities. So we talked about the overall goals. Those are the same as they were for the first phase. This phase of work has its own sets of priorities, and then there are individual strategies under each priority that are the how do we achieve the things we're looking to achieve. Ultimately, new zoning districts will be created to advance the priorities listed here. We're nowhere near that far in the process. So the priorities, I'll go ahead and read those as they are specific to this new phase of work. So we're going to leverage additional corridors to create more housing in more places to help address the cities and regions housing shortage by supporting changes that make it easier and more likely to build more housing. The next one is grow the local economy and support neighborhood investment by modernizing employment-focused sites, supporting small businesses, and guiding growth to benefit all neighborhoods. And then we have connect housing, jobs, and transportation to make it easier for people to live near work, services, and transit. And then the last one is to promote high-quality development with a code that relies on clear, objective standards, and it's easier to navigate. So with that, you're probably wondering what's in and what's out of this phase of the work. So the next section of this document just goes into the focus area map. If you visited us in the gallery last year, you may recall when you first walked in, there was hanging from the ceiling, there was a series of maps that were showing what the team looked at to land on what was included in the first phase. So the next few pages of this document are just reflective of that. So this time around, the group looked at existing land uses. They looked at existing area plan recommendations. Of note, across the city, there's a lot of inconsistency with area plans as far as recommendations, things like color codes, something that may be shown purple here and something that may be shown purple on the near east side could be different things, or they could be different densities. So there's a lack of consistency when you look at that at a citywide level. And then also when you're looking at area plans, we have a very wide range of the age of those plans. So we have, I think the Hilltop one is one of the much newer ones, being just a few years old, but then we have some going back to like 1992. So trying to kind of level the playing field with that is a part of the policy work that I'll discuss at the end of this document. Additionally, they looked at existing zoning districts, and then there was a look at transportation and transit. So the Columbus multimodal thoroughfare plan was looked at, and then Coda and the Link Bus, bus routes. So all of that, was layered on top of each other and compiled to identify the focus area map, which you see on page 16, is gray and blue. The blue are the areas that are in the work that's going on now. You'll notice that it's just blue, it's just showing essentially what is included in the economic and housing opportunities focus area. If you go to the website, you can see how that breaks down between the different land uses I was talking about a few moments ago. That was just very difficult to convey in print. So if you want to zoom in to the hilltop and kind of see how that breaks down, that is available. Of note, the second phase includes approximately 66,519 parcels, which is about 43% of the city, as opposed to phase one, which was around 13,000 parcels and a little over 4% of the city. So this is a much larger chunk of the apple. And again, all of that map information is available on the website. So the last piece of this here is dealing with policy. As I said, the policies, the different area policies citywide are very inconsistent. So we need to come up with a consistent policy citywide before we can really start looking at the code. So to meet this need, the city of Columbus is going to work with the community, which is where all of this engagement comes in, to develop an amendment to the Columbus citywide planning policies. You may have also heard that referred to as C2P2. So again, updating the policy is going to be an update to C2P2. There will be a name change associated with this, so we will no longer have our beloved C2P2. It is going to change to the Columbus Growth Strategy. So you may hear those used interchangeably as we go through this process. The goal of this is to expand the land use policy basis for the remaining work of zoning. And it will include citywide design guidelines that balance the quality development standards with housing supply and infrastructure needs, and establish policies in support of capital planning and investment. This is a big deal for our city. We've never actually had a citywide land use map. And as I said, there's so much variation and inconsistency that this is something that's really needed to advance the goals and efforts of zoning. So that's really the meat of the document. The last page is focusing on what's next. There's a timeline. It talks about going to the website to see there's a calendar on the website that has all of the engagement opportunities. The mapping workshops are going to be the big ones, but we have an entire summer jam-packed full of pop-up events that we're going to be at. Like I said, the social media, there will be a lot of content there. So lots of ways to engage. So in conclusion, really, we're just trying to get folks to engage with us at this point in any capacity that you can share with your neighbors, colleagues, friends, because we are still very early in this process. If you recall, the first phase of work really took, 2 years to complete, and we're looking at not right now, we're very early on in this policy development. That's going to take us through the end of 2025, really, and we're not even going to start looking at the next phase of the actual code until 2026. So we're very early. It's a great time to get involved and have your voice and your opinion heard. So with that, I can try to answer any questions, but if it's something I can't answer, I'm happy to direct you to folks with me.
Awesome, thank you so much. Can you just repeat what time and date the West High School event is going to be?
Yes, that will be July 23rd at West High School from 5 to 7 p.m.
Any other commissioners have questions? Commissioner Carr?
So I'm sorry, do you have any extra of these by chance?
I do not have any additional paper.
Hey, Carla, you can have my copy.
Well, I mean, there was just a few people short, so I didn't want to think. Oh, well, if it's just totally digital, I can just check. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I guess you said that too, but thank you. I just want to.
Is there any other questions from commissioners?
I'll just real quick.
Commissioner Bates.
So I want to say thank you for coming in and sharing with us about this next phase. Within zoning committee, we will be having conversations, encouraging engagement in this phase, because the zoning code really is the backbone of what we do as a city in terms of development, where housing goes, how we develop housing, what our neighborhoods look like. Do we need cars? Do we need buses? And all that. So if people want to have more conversations, obviously the July 23rd date, definitely want to echo that, but then also feel free to reach out to me and zoning committee, and we will have this, on our agenda, many months, just for conversation, updates, what's going on, where conversations are heading as we hear about them, to try to get that information out. I think there's a lot of really exciting things we can be doing in this city through updating our zoning codes.
We're happy to continue to engage throughout. This will not be the last time you see me.
I guess I have, Arjo, did you have? I have one last question that's related to the social media posts that you guys are getting ready to do. If there's any way to tag like all of the area commissions or direct, the individuals to the area commission like website page, because all of ours are listed on the side. I think that'll just be very helpful talking about zoning initiatives, where to send like local individuals like within our community, the next area commission over, because as we update the zoning code, there's still gonna be applications who need variances for certain projects that may well exist in the future in that district without a zoning variance. So like just pointing people where to go when they have questions about zoning, and then highlighting the commission that is our meat and potatoes is always gonna be the zoning, because that's always gonna be something that the city's actively working on. Were there any questions from, sorry, Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Chair, appreciate it. So, thanks again for being here, Rachel, right?
Stephanie.
Or, sorry, Steph, my bad, I'm terrible.
No worries.
Everyone here knows that. But as you may have heard earlier, Commissioner Barkus talked a little bit about our reading challenge. And this is kind of timely, but this book that I'm gonna start reading, you might be familiar with, the Death and Life of Great American Cities by Jane Jacobs. I just picked it up. I've read a few passages during planning school, but to my knowledge, it basically critiques the zoning policies of the 1950s and 60s, around the time this was written in 61. And to my knowledge, you said that was the last time the zoning code was written, right?
Yes, our code would be equivalent to those.
Yeah, and so a whole book written on the mistakes of the past, right? But we're trying to right those wrongs, and so I'm just kind of emphasizing that I think it's very important that all of us as a community show up and we engage with zoning in Columbus, because it's very rare that a city goes through this extensive of zoning code changes. This may be the only time in all of our lifetime, so definitely stay engaged. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Way to age everybody in the room. Anybody in the, from the community have any questions? Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Again, if anybody's interested, the meeting at West High School on July 23rd, she said from 5 to 7 p.m. is open to anybody who's willing to participate. Moving on to our reports of officers. I'm gonna go first. I just want to highlight that in one of the committee meetings for community relations, we discussed trying to get out announcements with the agenda when we send out the email, just so that they're in written record and everybody gets them prior to us making the announcement now and prior to when we post the meeting minutes a month from now. We're still working on that document, but I do want to put that out there that that's something that we're trying to actively do to get in front of any events that are going to happen, so they're not being announced late in written notice in our meeting minutes. That's all I've got. So I'm going to turn it over to Chair Montana. Do you have any reports?
I was just gonna encourage community engagement, so decisions are made by the people who show up. That's all I have to say. So, yeah.
Secretary Ardro, do you have any else? All right, Treasurer Smith.
I'm good, thank you, Chair.
Awesome. Moving on to reports of committees. We're going to start off with zoning. I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Bates.
All right, thank you, Chair. Our first application is for 1476 Sunflower Drive. This application, is to grant a zoning variance to allow a room to be constructed on where a porch, an enclosed porch currently sits. Then the variance is to address the, setback requirements from the street. So if the applicant would like to step on forward and, talk through this, application. Then we will open it up for questions from committee members and then from the community.
Hello, I'm James Knox with Suncraft. We're the contractor involved with project. The existing house has a, as you can see, there's an existing porch on the back of the house. We are going to be replacing that. That's considered an unconditioned space. We're going to be replacing that with a full room addition, exact same footprint, where it's going to become habitable space, increasing the living space of the home. And we got a situation where the house was originally constructed within the building line established in the plat of the community. And however, that was overseen when it was built. We are requesting to dive into the building setback line, which is currently 25 feet, and reduce it down to 10 feet from the property line, which is adjacent to Klein Road.
Are there any questions from commissioners?
What was the vote in the zoning committee?
Yeah, the zoning committee voted 4-0 to approve recommendation of the zoning variance to modify the setback requirement to 10 feet. Any additional questions from commissioners?
The house was built within the building line of the plat, but the extension then, or the room behind it exceeds that, and that's why now we have this space difference. I just want to make sure that that's right.
It literally exceeds, I would say, approximately 1 or 2 feet. But like I said, the existing porch that's there now, that also extends that distance. I'm saying that the house was approximately 12 feet from the property line, which the building setback was 25. And when it was constructed, I mean, literally almost about a third of the house was encroaching into a setback to begin with. And I'm not exactly sure when that porch addition was built. But it's been there for a good number of years. And the homeowner would like to make that space part of the home and habitable. And so we're just not changing the existing foot that's there now. We're just reclassifying the use of it to make it more habitable.
Additional questions? Questions from community members? Seeing none, I move that we recommend passage of this variance request for BZA 25-060 to modify setback requirements to 10 feet. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Barkus. Commissioner Argiro, take the roll, please.
Yep, and we will start with our committee chair Bates. And we go.
Yes.
All right, and then moving to your left, we'll go to Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner McKee,
Yes.
Commissioner Amin.
Yeah.
Commissioner Maddox.
Yes.
Ardrose, yes. Commissioner Montana.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Fagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Carr.
Yes.
And Commissioner Vargas.
Yes.
Okay, so that is
13, how many of us are here? 12. 12, and opposed. Great. And abstained.
Thank you. I will, next steps are I will forward the paperwork, from this vote down to city council and to the folks down there, and then they will follow up with you on any next steps that they will be requiring.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. Alrighty, next up is 233 South Oakley, BZA 25-052. We heard this application last month. We've heard both this application at both the May and our June hearing. So this during the most recent commission or the committee hearing, we spent some time talking about some historic styles and designs. Commissioner Kepler, who's not here tonight, I know spent some time, and you all had a good conversation about window stylings and things like that during the commission meeting. And we have received no community feedback with the additional notification period implemented on this application to construct 6 attached units for individual home sale on 3 formerly 3 plots of land. Would you like to highlight any additional issues for conversation with this application?
I think I will like to interject and ask, was there anything that you guys changed based off of the conversation from the most recent?
Made any changes since the last presentation?
Okay, nothing's changed since the last presentation. Again, the issue that arose last month is it had made it to zoning committee within like 5 to 7 days of us getting the paperwork from the city. So we heard the application both last month's zoning committee in May and again in June. They presented at the full commission meeting in June. So I guess I'd like to make the motion to skip their presentation as they've already indicated nothing has changed. Again, the issue was we were allowing for more discussion from residents. So I'm gonna make the motion that we can just skip the presentation. I appreciate you guys' patience and time with this. Again, we were just trying to get community residents who had an opinion that weren't heard. So again, I'm gonna make the motion that we skip the presentation and go ahead and vote on this zoning application.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Smith. I'm gonna open up to comments. Did you have a question?
I just wanted to ask, is there anybody here that might aim as a result of us posting presentations tonight?
Thank you so much. Is there anybody here who was not present at the June meeting that does want to hear the presentation? We're not gonna fault you if you want to hear it. Again, it is, do you want to hear it? Yes, okay, so I'm gonna strike my motion and we're gonna, if you could just briefly present, I think Josh, you still have all the material ready. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask once we get to that point. But yeah, thank you so much for coming back and thank you so much for being here. So I'll turn it back over to you. Sorry about that.
Well, Josh, you still have our presentation. We want to start with. Basically, the parcel is located pretty much fronting on Ray Street and South Oakley. Currently, the property was at one time 3 parcels. Parcels have been combined, so now it's 1 parcel. On the next slide, what we've done is show basically through the auditor's map what the 3 parcels are and having those all combined. The next slide then begins to show what we're trying to do by proposing 6 individual dwelling units on the property. What we have is pretty much 2 bedrooms with a possibility for a 3rd bedroom, 2.5 baths. Parking spaces, as you can see, are the shaded areas basically in the back, so that we're meeting all the parking requirements required by the city of Columbus. The next slide gets into basically what the unit is. And as you can see, the ground floor has basically a living area, a kitchen area, and then a dining, also kind of an area. It then goes to an area in the back where we identified patio area as well for the privacy of the units. The upstairs basically has 2 bedrooms and a 1 full bath. And then down in the basement, we get a living area, another full bath, and the opportunity for either event that we'd like, something like that. On the next slide, we've got into showing exactly how the combination of each one of those units will be built into compromising the building, being the 6 dwelling units. The next slide pretty much shows the elevation studies that we've done. These are studies that we had done drive-bys through the area, and we tried to basically do everything in compliance with what was looking with existing architecture in the area. So these are all 4 elevations that you see on this slide. The next slide starts to show what we wanted to do with the color palette. We have been researching this. We saw some housing. We tried to follow that palette. We got some recommendations from commissioners as well. And basically what we're showing here is what the materials and finishes. Again, when we talked about doors and style, that's basically what we're looking at right there. The next slide pretty much gets into what we would like to see as a finished product. This is looking basically from west or from the north, I mean. So it's showing how the parking is and how the patio areas work, and then there's adjacencies to the building. So the next few slides are showing just studies that we've done as what the final building. Pretty much other than that, well, this was something I was good to look at. But is there any questions that you?
And there, maybe a little bit too early, but I did want to know, and I'll ask the question like this. What are you all looking for when it comes to tenants? Are we more so looking, you know, to like create more homes for Westside use? Or is this a project to kind of like diversify our area a little bit more?
What we're trying to do is we're trying, first of all, the people that are involved in the project, to put in the area. The other part that's going on with this is that our conversations and other projects I have working on, we've been working with land banking. Every developer pretty much being world, all they want to do is build apartments. So everything's apartments. What we're doing here is making a change of direction. If these are going to be product that's going to be for sale. And so we're finding that there's still younger people, we're still our firefighters, our police force, all those stuff, which is still would like to own something, but what the price point is becoming very and so what we're trying to do is build a product here that get into that economic reach, so that they can own something and not be trapped in that whole realm. And that's what we're doing. And then the other thing we're trying to do is maximize property, and that's why we're at 6 dwelling units, because the more we should do, the better the cost is construction, that you more likely to stays, the price point for our sales. That answers your question. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Additional questions or comments from community members?
I have one question.
We'll just do community members for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not seeing any additional questions, comments from community members, we'll go to commissioners. Commissioner Carr.
Just real quick, are you still, selling those with no HOA? With no HOA on the units?
We had. If you want to respond, we had conversations about this and how the maintenance was going to be taken care of on the property.
I've actually sat where I own the property and I've known John for years, he's an architect. I'm a mortgage lender too. So, when I bought the land, I thought, let's build some affordable houses and, not do a condo because those are really hard to finance with FHA loans. And I think at this price point, to make it more reachable, we want to open it up to FHA buyers. But yes, Carla, we heard what you said, and having some sort of HOA to take care of the lawn and things is probably gonna have to come into play. But overall, single family attached is what we're going for, so we're not like limiting to 10 wives.
Thank you, because I know they've just recently done something in Franklinton that they're kind of similar, not really. I think that's maybe a little nicer to look at. But they're just gone on sale just very recently, and I looked at those and they did have an HOA, so it made me wonder about those as well.
They attached single family homes.
Sorry.
Where the HOA, where they attached.
They're all, yeah, they're attached and then, but they're attached to each other, but they all have single doors. There's a whole bunch of them down in Franklin, and they just.
There's a lot of like HUDs out there, which are like freestanding single family homes that have HOAs. So it could be like a combo of that too, but yeah, well, if it is, it's a small.
Additional questions or comments from commissioners? I will say during our committee meeting, we did vote 4-0 to recommend approval of this property for the various variances that are needed to construct 6 units for sale. And just a reminder, there's a large list in the application for variances so that each individual unit received the variances that were needed, so that each individual unit then can be sold. Did I explain that correctly?
Well done.
Okay. Want to make sure I get all the legal wording on that correct, because it was the same variance multiple times for these things. We also did recommend that they consult the Hilltop USA History and Homes document, which is available as a PDF in the zoning committee resources. I believe you and Jenny shared emails, and
That was a great resource that she
Yeah.
had, so. Yeah, thank you for that.
no additional questions from committee or community. I will move that we approve the variances requested for BZA 25-052 for 233 South Oakland. Do I have a second?
Second.
There you go.
The joy of committee work is who gets those seconds. Right.
Take my wins where I can get them.
Right, well, we will start our roll with Chair Base. How do you vote?
Yes.
Start on my left with Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Montana.
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Maddox.
Yes.
Commissioner Amin.
Yeah.
Commissioner McKee.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Vargas.
Yes.
Commissioner Carr. Megan.
Yes.
None abstaining, 11 of 12, the result is. Great. 11-1.
Thank you very much, and I will get that paperwork, and you'll be CC'd on the email as I send the paperwork down to the city with the result of tonight, and then they will follow up on any next steps from their point of view. So thank you so much for taking the extra time to create that opportunity for community input. And as we heard from the zone in, and as we look at these things, I think this is gonna become more common, and the new zoning rules, I think, are gonna open up the pathway for more development like this.
Commissioners, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have one final zoning agenda item it's a demolition permit that was filed just after our committee meeting last week for 1288 Georgesville Road. And if you recall, with demolition permits, there is a 60-day public comment period. If the area commission though can send an email in indicating that we are supportive of it being expedited as a process. And with this address, 1288 Georgesville Road, we actually already heard this as a zoning application. Back in, when did we hear your application? Feel free to come on up to the books. April or May? April, yeah. So this is going to be turned into a 7-brew coffee. But we knew at the time there was a building that was gonna need to be demolished when we took that vote.
Yep, that's pretty much it. We need to demolish the building in order to build a 7-brew, so we're asking for that approval for folks.
Are there any questions from commissioners? Any questions from community members?
I mean, just, I'm sorry, you asked if we had any questions. So waiting a full 60 days does what to your timeline? It's a problem?
It allows us to start when we need to start, which is August 14th, I think.
Okay.
Which are our next commission meeting or our next committee meeting and full commission meeting aren't until after basically that 60 days since we take a month off. And what we do, I do want to emphasize, when you all reached out to me, yes, we want to provide a lot of opportunity for community input, but we actually have already reviewed this application, so I thought it was appropriate to bring it on this expedited timeline, knowing that we have this whole, month, almost 2 months until we meet again. Seeing no questions, I move that we encourage the city to expedite the demolition permit application for 1288 Georgesville Road.
Second.
We're gonna do a full voice vote or just?
If he wants
to go with them.
I'll leave that call to the chair.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion passes.
Roll call, right?
Yes.
You need to do.
Well, thank you so much. I'll send in that email to the city to encourage them to expedite the application for y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep. And that is the end of our zoning applications. I will say, we do have copies of the Columbus citywide planning policies, the Hilltop Land Use Plan. So, as the city is reviewing and looking at variances and they're doing these are kind of some of the goals that they have, how do we increase more density and some of these sorts of things. So if any of the commissioners would like a copy, we don't have loads and loads for everybody, but if anybody would like a copy, please see me after the meeting. Our next zoning committee meeting will be August 27th at 6:30 PM here at the Hilltop Library. Because we take August off. July. Sure. Well, we'll take July off of the committee meeting because there won't be a commission meeting and, yeah, you'll know what I mean.
Thanks. That does make sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't get too excited, because I am gonna ask that commissioners that do sit on the zoning committee, if you don't have already anything scheduled, please try to attend the July 23rd zone in meeting at West High School from 5 to 7 PM. I know it's real last minute because it's 23 days away, but if you could attend that, I greatly appreciate it, as you do sit on the zoning committee. But again, it's open to anybody who wants to attend, whether it's residents, neighbors, or people outside of the Hilltop. So again, that's going to be July 23rd at West High School from 5 to 7 PM for the zone in. All right, so we're gonna move on to the rest of committee reports. So we're gonna move on to community relation co-chair Josh Maddox and Ashley Montana.
Thank you, Chair. So we met on June 24th at the Hilltop Library, right after the government and legislation meeting. A few updates from our meeting. So we talked about the updates with the website, which OLBC had shared earlier, an update for that. So just know that it has been delayed, the transfer to July 31st. We also talked about upcoming community events and meetings that are available to commissioners and also the public. Some ones to note where we'll have commissioners present, Summer Jam West, which Commissioner Smith had shared about. The Columbus City Schools Back to School Fair at Fort Hayes. And then we also talked about a number of other events that will be seeking tabling opportunities. So for commissioners, please look at the spreadsheet to sign up for those spots. We also talked about different social media posts to prep for engagement. So we talked about the summer reading challenge, which Commissioner Marcus had shared about previously. We also talked about the petition packets for our October election. So those are available online and they've been shared via social media. I know we're going to hear about an appointed seat later, but if you don't get your appointed seat, I would highly encourage you to complete a petition packet, and you have to get 25 signatures. So those are available on our website. I assume government and legislation will talk more about that. And then we also had a short discussion on commission districts. So that's something that we've considered to encourage engagement throughout the greater Hilltop area.
Our next meeting is July 22nd at 7 p.m. here at the library. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. Moving on to government legislation. And yes, the petitions for this year's open seats are available on the website. You do have to click on. Sorry, did you have a? You do have to click on the image that's on the website. And I believe we shared it also on our Facebook page. Again, also in government legislation, we are having discussions as it relates to combining committees. I sent around all the meeting minutes from last month. We did have the discussion about how to reduce our committee meetings from 9 to 5. And that discussion did lean into the topic of no longer having a public safety committee meeting. And then by getting rid of that committee solely, we're tasking the remaining 5 committees to implement, align within their agenda, within their directive, to focus on safety that affects their committee. So when we're talking about public safety, as it relates to recreation and parks, it will be now the responsibility of recreation and parks to address the safety within our public parks, our public infrastructure. So instead of directing a neighbor to public safety committee about an issue within our parks, we're then going to direct them to the committee chair of Recs and Park to say, hey, you have all these contacts with Rec and Park. Here's a safety concern I have. Can you help me get it addressed? We did kind of feel like this better aligns with the 5 committees instead of trying to overwhelm a single committee to tackle. They believe their single direction should be on focusing on public safety, or which one they prioritize over the others. So again, it would be 5 public safety committee meetings that we would be having a month versus the 1, because then it would be planning and economic development's responsibility to talk about, hey, how are we thinking about public safety when we're talking about improvements within our community, either capital improvements, street widenings, bus rapid transit. Again, same thing with the zoning. How does zoning play a role into public safety when they're talking about zoning applications, demolition permits, and things like that? So again, the discussion is still going on. We're not ready to bring it out of committee, but I did want to address, because we already had a concern from a resident saying that it would be awful to get rid of public safety, which is not what we're doing. We're trying to charge our other committees to take the approach of identifying what public safety means to them and how better to address public safety within their committee. And again, the goal is to go from 9 committee meetings down to 5. Each commissioner would still be assigned to 3 committees. So out of a month, you still have the opportunity to only miss 2. Instead of now, you'd be missing 6 potentially. So again, it frees up more time and availability for commissioners to make it to all 5 committee meetings instead of trying to make it to all 9. So again, if anybody, commissioners, community has any questions, we're still gonna have a meeting this month. And that's gonna be July 22nd here at the library at 6:30 p.m. Moving on to Human Service and Education, Commissioner Joe Arthur.
Check 1, 2, thank you. We met on June 18th. We had a presentation and discussion from Carly Booz at the Affordable Housing Alliance of Central Ohio. They partnered and did some broad community survey research on the topic of affordable housing. You can visit ahaco.org/overwhelming, and the overwhelming describes community sentiment towards support for middle housing, which is a lot of what we're talking about with the next changes to zoning. Okay. We also continued our discussion on Safe Route to School. Those infrastructure walks begin in just 2 weeks, Saturday, July 12th, from 10 to noon at Highland and 1 to 3 at West Broad. Our next meeting is July 16th, and actually, we didn't talk about this last. I will do it in enough time, but we may I may move that since I'm asking people to come out twice. Let me think about that, but that's it at this.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to liquor permit review, Commissioner Dan Bate.
Hello, everybody. The Liquor Permit Review Committee did have a very brief meeting on June 25th. Thank you. Here at the public library, Hilltop Public Library, following the zoning committee meeting. The committee has not been asked by, the city to review any liquor permits or give any feedback in this month. One of the things the committee continues to do is put together a list of all the liquor permits that have been issued, transferred, canceled, or rejected in our zip codes. And we post that on our website. So we're just coming up with a ongoing list of any activity around liquor permits. It's not perfect because, it's 43204, 43223, 43228, and 43123 of the zip codes. Some of they go into Grove City, some of the zip codes, but try to capture as much as we can there. There's been no activity on the public database that the Ohio Department of Commerce has for the month of June in our zip codes, any new liquor permits that have been granted. There is also, the committee is putting a list of the permits that are pending in our zip codes. There's a total of 87 of them. The 28 of them don't have any openings or would require a voter input to be able to open up the opportunity to have those permits. So there are currently 59 potentially actionable liquor permits pending in our zip codes. We won't be meeting in the month of July. We'll be meeting again in August 27th, following the zoning committee meeting. It's going to be here at the public library at 6:30. Thank you. Any questions?
Moving on to Planning Economic Development, Co-Chair Dean Smith and Ashley Montana.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. So the Planning and Economic Development Committee, met a few weeks ago. And our main topic of discussion was the upcoming capital improvement budget. Josh, I don't know if you have the document handy, which I'll talk about here in a sec. But as some of our more seasoned commissioners and know, and even a lot of you in the audience know, we are often asked for our recommendations for capital improvements to council during the capital improvement budget process, where the mayor's administration gives his capital improvement budget to city council. And then they hold, as well as him, hold community engagement sessions and engage with the area commissions. Most years, city council will ask us between 3 and 5 priorities. This year, it's been a little bit delayed, the budget process as a whole. And because we are at such a weird kind of time with the August recess, and we imagine the budget could be passed before that August recess, we're gonna go ahead and vote on 5 recommendations before city council asks us. And also, if city council does not ask us, when we go to share the results of our community feedback surveys that we do every year, we'll still share this document with both city council staff and the mayor's administration. That way, not only during this budgetary process, but also in November when they start to work on, when all the departments start to work on the 2026 capital improvement budget and the 2026 to 2032 capital improvement plan. They understand some of the priorities of this body from some of the feedback we've heard from various organizations and community members. And so we'll kind of look at this here. So as you can see on the screen, we have 5 priorities ranked. The meat of this, of course, is the priority name. Their particular department that capital improvement is it or matches a description of the project. And then the two things you see to your right are the Envision Hilltop priority that aligns with that, and also the mayor's opportunity rising priority. As I've said before, every budget across most every city in America has a mayor's goals outlined on the face of the document, or a city manager's goals, depending on what sort of city you're in. So we always like to tie that to the goals of that budget document. But in committee, we had a very long, actually, I think it was maybe 2 hours almost discussion about some of these, and we've had discussions over the last few months about this particular moment that we created. We had a whole process, and during this process, at committee, some of our North Stars were to make sure that these priorities are spread out across different neighborhoods. So it's not just in like Highland West, or not just in Westgate or South Hilltop. It's as spread out across the hilltop as we can possibly get. More than one department. As you can see, we have 2 related to the Department of Recreation and Parks, 3 to Department of Public Service. And also our third North Star was making sure that a lot of these are in the Envision Hilltop boundaries, which 4 of them are, and that they align with various goals within that plan. We all know how important that plan is to us. And fourth, but most importantly, community input. So that's really where most of these, or I should say all of these started, with some form of community input, whether that was on the survey that we give out every year, which we looked at both the 2025 and 2024 survey. And also when we've been out in the community talking to folks, when we've had folks come for zoning variances, we've learned some of the problems in those specific neighborhoods. And so really a lot of these were born off of this. Actually, I didn't know if you wanted to speak to the process or any of these particular priorities before I continue to ramble on. No? Okay, good. Well, then I'll go ahead and start. So number one, you see at the top there, the AC system at Holden Community Center. That was actually on last year's recommendations was to have improvements at the Holden Recreation Center, just kind of broadly, right? Within this capital improvement budget, there is $300,000 allocated for repairs at Holton Community Center. So we're very thankful for the city for that. But we believe that this is an opportune time to also add a better air conditioning system. This was actually brought to our attention by the North Hilltop Neighborhood Association, this AC issue. And during our committee, Rec and Parks met as well. And so we verified with their staff that this is a ongoing issue. So we want to make sure that that folks going to that rec center have AC, and we're always trying to make sure that that Holden Rec Center gets some much needed TLC. So that's number one. And then number two, pedestrian improvements to Steel Avenue. That's something we put in last year. Steel Avenue is the east-west street in the North Hilltop area. And there's been a lot of concerns with speeders. Also, there's a lot, if you ever drive through there, there's a lot of kids that walk through. There's a corner store in the middle and then one on Steel Avenue. And so a lot of folks using that street to get to those corner stores, as well as the West Broad Elementary School. So we see that as a very important route to, and of course, the Mid-Ohio Food Collective that was just built. But we see this as a very important route, and we want to make sure residents get there safely. Also, number three and number four are sidewalks that we would like to be added. Number three to Fremont Avenue from Westgate to South Main. and number 4, Wicklow Avenue from Hague to South Lane. And those are also important east-west corridors that get to various amenities such as West High School, Westgate Alternative Elementary School, Westgate Park, here at the library, you know. And you may ask, you know, why are 3 of these 5 priorities east-west streets? We've one thing that we've kind of talked about in committee is that with the Link Us program, there's gonna be a lot of different funds for streets that connect to that corridor to build sidewalks, other much needed infrastructure. And so we're prioritizing this iteration of the city budget for some of those east-west corridors before some of those grant funds come for that. And then number 5, this is something that's come up a lot. It's a big ask, obviously, right? Because as you know, a community center takes millions and millions of dollars to build, as well as years and years of planning. But one feedback that we've seen a lot is the need for a community rec center south of Sullivan. There's been multiple years that we've asked for it as a commission, and so we want to continue to push for that. As a lot of you know, there's gonna be a demolition happening soon with Columbus City Schools, the old Wedgewood Middle School. So there should be additional land that our school system owns. And there already is some vacant land beyond that. And so we see this as a very opportune time to advocate for that as well. Are there any questions from members of the district?
So I would like to make a comment as a two-term commissioner, and with the recent USA Today article talking about how the city of Columbus is the 4th most walkable city in the United States. And the Dispatch, I think, did a really good job of saying how much that is not true. 60% of Columbus is without sidewalks or curbs. That's about 1,453 miles of sidewalks that the city does not have. And again, as a 2-term commissioner, we continuously ask for sidewalks for our community, whether it's through trying to connect residents from home to commercial districts, to grocery stores. It's been like a very, very big high priority of this committee, of this commission. And I just want to thank everybody who continuously shows up to advocate for our community. And I want to tell everybody at home, please don't get discouraged as though we keep asking for the same things over and over again. It just goes to show how much we care about these topics in general and how much we value and realize they mean to our community. Because a community that can't walk together can't come together. So I just want to thank you to all that committee work. Again, it's a big ask. But it's only 1,400 miles that we need to fill in. So.
Thank you for that, Chair. And just to add to that, Ashley and I are currently in communication with the city to get a representative to come in and talk about some of our sidewalk priorities. And so having something like this, not only for when we're asked our opinion, but also for when we have folks from the city come in and we can tell them these are the priorities that have been voted on by our entire commission. That's very powerful. And so this, when we do have those discussions, I think this will be a very important tool for that as well.
And we'll add consistency, because like I said, we've got records that show that we've consistently asked for not the identical, the same things, but the same structural improvements time and time again.
Any other questions from commissioners? If not, I'll ask the community.
I'll just say one final comment is I want to extend my gratitude to the co-chairs and to all the commissioners who spent the time thinking about this and putting this together and making it an open and transparent process. That does not go.
Thank you, Secretary, and we really appreciate you coming to our meeting and also providing some feedback throughout the year that your committee's been looking at their safe routes to school. So it's been very helpful to have, you look through that lens as well.
Thank you. You know what, actually, it did just trigger one final thought is, as we've been having this conversation about safe route process and how we can also support capital improvement budgets. One of the things that I keep being told is if you have an urgent matter, continue to use 311. And they are able to still route those. So that's for all of you. If you see a curb cut, piece of infrastructure that's damaged or a question about a traffic light that's out, anything like that, 311 is still the place that they recommend to put those issues in. And as those requests come in, they can look through the various programmed and planned budget items and see if it's maybe already on the list. And if not, then add it. So we're still encouraged to use 311. This is a larger allocation, of course, but so yeah, I just wanted to try my memory with that.
Thank you, appreciate that. Any additional questions?
I do have a comment about the demo and rebuild of the vacant school property land that's going to be potentially available over there. Human Service Education did have a discussion 2.5 years ago about what to do or how to partner with city organizations, the schools, the libraries to get a not a massive facility, but a facility nonetheless that included a second library, a potential rec center, some type of health service over there in that area, because we're talking about what to do with, I think it's almost a 10-acre parcel that's within walking distance of 6 different school buildings. Well, what do you think of when we need to encourage kids to read more? Not bus them to the closest library that's well over, I think it was 5 miles away. So again, just to think about where the bottom one, a rec center on the other side of the community. Also too, we need more resources like third spaces, like a library or some type of health facility in that neighborhood.
Thank you, appreciate that. Any questions, thoughts, comments from community members? Thank you, Reverend, appreciate it. So seeing none, I motion that that the Greater Hilltop Area Commission approve these 5 priorities for the 2025 capital improvement budget and communicate this to city officials. Got that? Okay, second? All right, all those, or, oh, sorry, that's your work. I'm kind of used to committee meeting.
And so just so I understand, co-chairs, we're voting on the package. We're not taking them one by one. Be the package of recommendations.
Yeah, I planned on voting on the package as a whole.
All right, great. Well, we will start with our co-chairs to my left. How do you vote?
Yes.
Smith, thank you. And Montana.
Yes.
Rogers, yes. Commissioner Maddox. Yes. Commissioner Amin.
Yes.
Commissioner McKee.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Bates.
Yes.
Commissioner Barkus.
Yes.
Commissioner Carr.
Yes.
And Commissioner Fagan.
Yes.
Okay, none opposed, none abstained. Our result is 12-0-0. Motion passes.
Oh, that's all I have for this evening. Thank you, Jay.
Great meeting in July.
We are, okay, thank you, Josh, appreciate that. We are meeting, July 17th, 6 p.m. here at the Hilltop Library. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're gonna move on to public safety co-chair Dan Biggin and Carla Carr. Do you have any updates, comments, or concerns you'd like to share?
Is
that working?
Sometimes it just takes a second to turn on.
We are scheduled to meet, thank you, July 9th at, I think it's actually 7. Yes, 7 PM. I apologize for that, but we will be here. We did not meet last month. We did, however, get contacted by someone with Franklin County and sorry, I apologize. I don't exactly know what department or role she's in, but oh, Lucy might remember that, but she was included in the email too. But they want to do like a town hall on safety. So I don't have a date for that. I've sort of just been in communication with that lady, but we obviously would appreciate it if you guys will get the word out when that does occur, because it'll be. Usually I feel like we deal a lot with the city, but this will be someone from the county. So I think it'll be very interesting to be able to get some engagement with those folks.
Yes, thank you so much. Moving on to recreation and parks, that's gonna be me again. So we did meet in June. We met with we had 2 meetings. So the first meeting, we met with city officials to go over the park audits from 2024. I'm still waiting on the PowerPoint presentation that they provide or that they gave. We discussed every park, not just the park audits that were done in 2024. There was a breadth of information that was provided as to updates, not only to our park audits that we submitted, but to requests for improvements that needed to be done within those parks. Happy to say that a lot of comments that we provided in the park audits, the city did address. There may have been like 1 or 2 things that we had questions about still, but they were, I would say, minuscule on some of the things that we did bring up. So please keep an eye out. We'll be adding the PDF to our OneDrive once I get it. And then also in June, we did meet at Big Run. Hopefully everybody saw the posts that I made about the butterfly garden that they have up there. I was actually kind of shocked. I don't think I had seen it the last time I was up there. But it was a perfect day for just visiting Big Run. We did pick up about, I want to say 4.5 buckets of trash, which given the size of Big Run, that's not a lot, thankfully. So it is fairly clean, but there are a lot of updates as well coming to Big Run that the city is trying to implement in next year's capital budget. And again, we'll be meeting this month on the 19th at Rhodes. But I do want to bring up for a vote a letter of support that the committee wants to send out. This was sent out on June 18th. And what it is, it's a letter of recommendation that we're trying to send to state, city and local officials to get approval for roads. As you may or may not be aware, Rhodes Park is leased by the city of Columbus from the state. Those grounds are owned by the state. They dictate whether or not the city can continue to operate it as a park. And because of that, the state has kind of dropped the ball on giving a lease agreement to the city. So the city's not able to implement improvements if they don't have an agreement because of all the bureaucracy that happens between local and state government. So this was brought up, I want to say 1.5 years ago. But the commission took a little bit of a backseat as we were kind of advised not to push any buttons. But now that we're 1.5 years into it, some of the equipment is starting to get removed. We're asking for the commission to sign off on this letter of support so that we can start knocking on doors, getting petitions signed to kind of help put the pressure on getting a lease agreement from the state to the city. Again, Rhodes Park is our largest athletic field that's heavily used, not only here in the Hilltop, but by the surrounding communities. It's got quick access from the highways, West Broad, countless little leagues, adult sports. That's a park they call home. So if we were to lose this park, there's no replacing it within a 5 to 20 mile range. The closest availability of just open field space, you're talking almost the outskirts of 270 for our community. Hopefully everybody had a chance to read this. Again, I did send this back on June 18th. Does anybody have any questions about the letter?
Did they advise the language in the second to last paragraph, but grant the city of Columbus a favorable long-term lease? Is there a reason why we're not saying that? a minimum of 5 years or 10 years plus.
So so the verbiage that I've gotten from from Morgan Wade was that they would be able to implement improvements if they got a 10-year lease. But again, the emphasis that I'm trying to make from the commission is that it's been a park for almost over 50 years. So like anything greater than 10, I don't want to put any restrictions like, we'll make it 10 years and they come back and say, well, we'll only give you 10 years. And then after that, kind of putting it back to the ball of they need the agreement. It's not us to dictate what the length is. But I'm more than happy to try to change it to 50, because I don't think anybody in our community wants to see roads go away or get used up for some type of highway development, which again, I've heard the comments many moons ago that it was gonna be absolved into ODOT and it was gonna be used for some massive like downtown ramp up kind of vision. And I've got confirmation from 2 different department heads at ODOT that they have no interest in taking the park away. Again, if we were able to get a lease with the city and the state, then ODOT would be able to come in and take it anyways.
Yeah.
Any other, Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Chair. So kind of what I'm hearing is you want to have a lot of flexibility on the terms of the lease. One thing that I think could also add some flexibility, not necessarily for when the city goes to negotiate the lease, but for when you and others on this commission go to advocate for this for this very necessary cause. I noticed that it's addressed to 4 individuals. Could we, like, when we go to vote, can we just kind of have it broadly that you can communicate with whoever, that way it's just not restricted to.
Yes, I mean, as the chair, I think I have the direction to send this letter out to anybody. But
Okay.
those are the 4 individuals that we're addressing specifically because they do hold the responsibility of the lease agreement.
Okay, so just to be clear, you'll be able to send it to any.
Yes, as the chair of the full commission, I do have, which I am trying to start a campaign with the 4 that are attached, as well as trying to get within the committee, get more involvement from the organizations that use the park to sign off on this letter.
Okay.
So this letter will be used to engage with other organizations to get support to add to the longer list of people that are wanting Words Park to stay. Any other questions? Commissioner Fagan is thinking really hard over it.
Nope, just read it one more time. Looking good.
So again, the motion is to have a full commission sign off on this letter of support for Rhodes Park. Second by Commissioner Smith. That's the secretary, if I would like to take the vote.
Okay, we will start with our Park and Rec chair, Commissioner Wakeman, vote.
Yes.
Start across the way this time with Commissioner Fagan. How do you vote?
Yes, thank you for bringing us forward again.
Commissioner Card,
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Barkus,
I'm a yes.
and Commissioner Bates,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner McKee,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yeah.
Commissioner Maddox.
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Montana
Yes.
and Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, on the lookout for Rexham Park kind of support chain initiative that we're going to be launching. We're going to try to get some pictures this month from the park audit cleanup. Hopefully start a more citywide campaign to get this favorable lease like in place. Hopefully by the end of the year is my goal. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been attending the park cleanups. I know last month it was really, really hot, but thank you for everybody who participated. And that's gonna end our committee reports, and we're gonna go into unfinished business. We're still a little TBA on meeting space availability here at the library, so that'll be on our September agenda to for sure vote on. With that, we're gonna move on to new business, which is gonna be filling the vacancy that was vacated by Commissioner Roof. This is a 3-year seat availability, so you're gonna start as soon as they're confirmed by the city, 2025, all the way till 2028. All right, so I'm gonna, any commissioners have any they would like to state? Commissioner Smith. Sorry. Sweat. I blame the projector. If I look this way, I get blamed.
So I have 2 nominations. So the first, I'm nominating Nick Smith, who's here with us tonight. And no relation. Just wanted to be clear on that. So Jenny Kepler wanted to nominate him tonight. Unfortunately, she can't be here. But from what I know of Nick, he's very passionate about our community, his community. He has a love for the hilltop like no other. And he's a West High School graduate, right?
Yes.
Lives here in the, what part of the hilltop do you live in again?
Actually, just a stone's throw.
Okay,
Not by a place, it's literally right down my road.
Yeah, thank you. And I know, the nominees will have more.
Yeah, so.
And I know the nominees will have more time to introduce themselves, so I'll pause on that. My second nominee that I have here with us tonight, Ashley Chapsky. A lot of you may remember Ashley. She previously seeked a nomination in November. I believe that was around the time that Erica and Sarah were here as nominees back in November. She's come to Planning and Economic Development Committee in the past, dedicated public servant. Actually, I think it was just a few weeks ago, she was named the executive director of the Juvenile Justice Coalition. And I'll let her speak to that a little more. And she's also worked on the governor's work group of competency restoration and jail diversion. And she's a volunteer for the CARE Coalition and the Columbus Rotary Club. So that's just kind of what I wanted to share with her tonight. I'll give it up to whoever
So I
else.
think you said Nick Smith and Ashley was the last name.
Chapsky, so that last name is spelled CHAP ski SKI. I got that right?
Yeah, CHAP.
Okay, sweet, we got it.
Awesome. Thanks. We're gonna move on to any other commissioners have any nominees? Commissioner Mickey?
Yep.
We're gonna go around, have every commissioner nominate them, and then we'll go back around again for those who would like to step up and speak on their own behalf. So please bear with us.
Check. I want to nominate Siobhan Montine. She's a Hilltop resident. She all of her family grew up on the west side and went to all of their schools here on the west side. But I'm gonna let her tell a little bit more about what she's done and what she's trying to do.
Commissioners on this side? Yes, Commissioner Bates.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Kayla Wilkerson. She currently works down at the Ohio State House with the Senate Democratic Caucus as Director of Budget and Finance. Is a real strong advocate around the needs of public education and health and human services, where I've worked with her on those issues directly. She's also has a background in education and has a master's in public admin. And a recent, when did you move? Within the past year, has moved into the Hilltop neighborhood.
Any other Commissioner Carr?
Yes. I want to nominate Jack Schultz. many of you may know him. He's lived here since 1981. Unfortunately, he was unable to attend tonight, had a funeral he had to go to. But he has, many of you know him from either GHAC's Cody's. He owned that for a number of years. He, is our community photographer, so you'll see him at all kinds of events where he documents the residents and, you know, kind of a bit of a history, taker, in my opinion. He, also has been a longtime member of the Glenwood United Methodist Church. He serves as a volunteer there as the first chair trustee. I'm sure there's more you guys probably even know more about him than I do, but that's my.
Sorry, Carla, did you have a nominee?
No, I was gonna read bylaws.
Okay, no, sorry, Carla, they do have to be present. Yes, I'm so sorry. The petitions are available. He's
Yeah.
more than welcome to run. As is anybody else who's here tonight that doesn't get the appointment seat. Your petition packets are available. You only need 25 signatures. We encourage you to get 30. Again, it's 4 open seats, and we'll appoint another person in January of 2026. So with that, I'm gonna ask that Nick Smith come up to the podium. If you want to talk briefly about yourself, we appreciate it.
Sure. Okay, it's nice to see and meet all of you. I am a lifelong Hilltop resident. I grew up just on the other side of Westgate Park at the corner of Parkside and Deer. Went to Westgate Elementary, graduated from West, so did my wife. My wife actually works at Homes on the Hill. So she's out at a lot of community events. You all may have met her before. I'm a third generation Hilltopper. My grandparents moved here from Franklinton, originally. Just grew up with a real love for the Hilltop. My grandpa retired from GM when that was still a thing. My first job was down on Sullivan at Big Bear, if anybody actually remembers that. When that was a grocery store. Worked almost 16 years out in Hilliard at Walmart's. So really, I just have love for the history of the Hilltop. I've seen it go from, you know, what it was back then to what it is now. And I would love to have a part in helping to improve it. I've thought about it for years. I'm kind of an introvert, but I do really love this community. I remember when the library used to be that tiny little building over by Westgate Lodge. I might be saying some things that some of you don't even know maybe, but this was a long time ago. I'm a Zennial, so I remember these things. Like I said, live about a block from here. So thanks for you guys' consideration. Any questions for me?
Sorry, if you were to pick any of the committees that we discussed tonight, which one would be your top one? So
Maybe the Parks and Rec. I mean, I'd love to be a part of that. I think that would be not only just fun and interesting, but I think there's a lot of potential in the parks that we have here. I think Westgate has a ton of untapped potential. I mean, I remember they were talking about putting in a skate park there years ago. Not sure what happened with that, if it was funding, if the community didn't support it really, but like you said, Big Run has a ton of potential. I mean, that park's huge. So there's a ton of stuff. I love the idea of having another community center. I've always thought that the Hilltop could use another pool further west, maybe southwest someplace. So yeah, probably that one first, but any of them, to be honest. A lot of the committees really seem like they do great work, but probably Parks and Rec first for me.
Thanks. I will add that Hans Park is getting a skate park.
Okay, that's what
There is
I
multi-million-dollar redevelopment.
Nice.
Any other commissioner questions? Yes, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Chair. So I have a question that I'm gonna try and ask every commissioner here.
Sure.
So as a lot of people could attest to here, the only thing better than one new commissioner is 4, right? So we actually have an election coming up this October. There's gonna be 4 seats available. So if you don't win here tonight, do you plan on running during the election?
I do, yeah.
Thank you. And also with that, I have tickets for anyone that wants them, so.
Sure.
Anyone that's here tonight, feel free to give it to Holly, make copies to other folks, so when you are on this commission. That is something that we advocate for a lot, is, getting folks to wanna be involved. So thank you so much for being
Yeah, thank you.
here. Thank you.
Commissioner Montana.
Dean stole my question.
Awesome. Are there any other questions, from commissioners? Any questions from the audience? Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Well, Ashley Chapsky.
Yeah.
I wrote it like chapstick, so I wouldn't mess it up.
Definitely heard that before. To the chair and the commissioners, I first would like to thank Dean Smith for the nomination, the opportunity to speak, and potentially serve my community. As you've heard a little bit about me, I'm a government relations professional. I currently work as an executive director for a local nonprofit. Academically, I'm a sociologist, so I've earned a master's degree in sociology from Bowling Green State University. Throughout my career, I've sought to uplift people and build bridges between systems and neighborhoods. My passion for community encompasses public service, public safety, ensuring our residents feel safe and protected, as well as ensuring there are systematic and social supports for individuals re-entering society. I understand the interconnectedness of various systems and the impact neighborhoods have on individual outcomes. Neighborhoods are the intersection of opportunity and consequences. Where we grow up can shape the quality of our education, our access to healthy food, and ultimately our future. Human services and education are key focus areas for me. I've witnessed firsthand the positive impact having access to quality education, as well as quality behavioral health care, can have on a child and family. I've lived in the Hilltop for a few years and have been a proud homeowner since 2020. I can often be found strolling to the local IGA to gather groceries, walking my two pups, Spoon and Cannoli, around the neighborhood, visiting my favorite Mexican spot, and many other wonderful things. There are many achievements in this community that we have to be proud of. I've truly watched our community blossom from what some see as ashes, right? So we once had this community of vacant homes and vacant lots, and it's now filled with beautiful families. The Hilltop is truly resilient and it's full of great potential. I'm thrilled to continue my journey of service as a Greater Hilltop Area Commissioner. I look forward to working alongside my neighbors and local stakeholders to tackle challenges and celebrate successes. The Hilltop can be anything we want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you. So we start off with questions, and again, out of the current committees, which committee would be your top contender?
I would say definitely human services or government legislation.
Any other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Smith?
Same question, do you plan on running if you don't meet tonight's nomination?
Perhaps that would be a good challenge.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Marcus.
Thank you for being here tonight. You mentioned you live in the Hilltop. Which neighborhood do you live in?
I just live on Racine down the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions? Questions from community? Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
One last shameless plug, Summer Gym West, we're still looking for volunteers, so hilltoparts.org if you would like to volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then Chevon Monty. I wrote the little asterisk on the E and I still missed it.
Hello, guys. As I said before, my name is Siobhan Mateen. I am a lifelong resident of the Hilltop. I currently live over on Brixham near Franklin Heights, right off of Demarest. I grew up, that has been my only address, only second to 309 South Wayne and 379 Highland, where my grandparents bought their first home together. We all live there, very close-knit family. Like Miss Ronette mentioned, I graduated from Bishop Reedy, went to St. Mary Magdalene, just adjacent to us. My cousins, mom, all of my folks graduated either from Franklin Heights. Well, I know that's Southwestern, but they all graduated from West, Briggs, or the very closely related Franklin Heights. I'll just start off by saying, growing up on South Wayne, I was definitely one of those kids where we used to ride our bikes from Wayne to Eureka. I'm also one of those kids where people, when we talk about the stigma that the West Side faces due to, whether it be some of the barriers that we have to holistic health, or whether it be obviously the opioid crisis that is taking place. In my career, which I'm currently the program manager at King Lincoln Equitas Health. Equitas Health is a community clinic that specializes in care for folks living with HIV and who are also LGBTQ plus. In my current career, people ask me, where are you from? And there's this cautionary step people take back when I say the West Side. But I am proud to be a West Sider. I'm deeply tethered to the history of the West Side. Every time I've left, I've come right back, whether that be college or a job opportunity. I've worked at, I heard Nick mention Homes on the Hill. I started my career out when I was 15 years old at Homes on the Hill as an administrative assistant. And furthermore, Safe Point, some of you may have heard of Safe Point, the Harm Reduction Center. I started my public health career there. And one of the things that I have consistently seen from the various standpoints of my career, and not just from my career, but actually existing in community and having lived here, is specifically the history. So obviously I'm a public health professional, as you may have gathered by now, but I am also an anthropologist. I'm currently studying anthropology. So one of the things, I actually am doing a final paper on the Hilltop in our history and how economic and social geographical concepts have affected us, whether adversely or in a more positive manner. And one of the things I'm mentioning and talking about in my paper is the way someone also mentioned the resilience of the Hilltop. I think that it's important to add context to who we are. We held, obviously, Camp Chase, which was, a place where the Union soldiers fought and they basically made base as they fought against slavery, whether it was, even like the Great Floods that, we welcomed more people into our neighborhood, or even if, we're talking about post-World War II, where, after our community was decimated and after deindustrialization took a toll on us, we still rallied ourselves and we still came together. One of the biggest things that I consider a core principle of who I am is the West Side, is kind of that intersection between grit and goodness that we have. Everywhere I go, I carry the West Side with me. I'm very honored to be from here, and I care deeply. Whether it be, our officials, our folks like you guys who are taking their time to make decisions and communicate on behalf of us, or whether it comes to some of those folks of my peers who I grew up with, who now have maybe got caught in the crossfires of some of the systematic challenges. So I'm truly ingrained in our community here. There's not a question you can ask me about the Hilltop that I won't answer confidently and I won't answer with courage. I think this is one of the best neighborhoods that you can come across. I have traveled all over the world, and there is no place like the residents. There is no place like the love. There is no place like the compassion. Even those folks that people judge who are in active use, some of those people have protected me, have advocated for me. I grew up with a mom who also, actively used substances. But one thing about the West Side, nobody ever judged my mother, and she was still seen as a community pillar. My mother to this day, who is sober, but still even then, people saw my mother with reverence, and it was because of how she contributed to her community. And even since growing up, it will be people who stop me and who are like, I know your mom, I look just like her. So they're like, I know that face. But the way that people interact with me and they kind of repay that social generosity that my mother implanted and instilled throughout her community always amazes me. And I want to continue to put my hand to the plow. Like I said, I'm proud to be from here. I don't care what anybody says about it, it's all ours, and we support each other and we carry each other through. I'm proud to be one of those dirty West Side kids in spite of, I'm still here showing up. And I have tried all I can do to take advantage of the opportunities. And one of the biggest things, and I can leave with this, is I truly believe in the West Side natives. I believe in not only our potential, but in our actual power, in our actual knowledge to defend, to decide, and to govern ourselves with autonomy and sovereignty. I think a lot of times when you have disenfranchised neighborhoods, I think people underestimate the power that the people who are marginalized or have been systematically neglected have. But every single day, we continue to show that strength, we continue to show that drive, and we continue to show up. Whatever that may look like, whether it's 50% that day or it's 100%, this community shows up for itself. And I think that being in positions where I can communicate and I can empower people and I can show people, you know, when I first came here, I was so surprised at the kind of like amount of power. Sorry. The amount of power we had. So I'm incredibly grateful to be here and I would definitely say.
Awesome. So my question is, out of the list of committee meetings or committees, which would be your top contender?
Government and legislation, but also zoning.
Okay, awesome. And then other, Mr. Smith?
Siobhan, same question. If you don't win nomination here tonight, do you plan on running in October?
Absolutely.
Here you go.
Any other,
Each job so easy.
any other questions from commissioners? Any questions from the audience? Awesome, seeing none. Thank you so much. We're gonna move on to our last nomination, be Kayla Wilkerson. Do you have to be quick? The library closes in 15 minutes.
Right, I'm tired of using my brain after the past couple months. Good evening, commissioners, members of the community. My name is Kayla Wilkerson. As mentioned, I'm the current Director of Budget and Finance of the Senate Democratic Caucus. Prior to that, I was a first grade teacher for 3 years in Southeastern Ohio. Did not grow up in an area like Southeastern Ohio. In fact, grew up in a military family. But living in Southeastern Ohio and Guernsey County taught me a lot about the intersectionality of community and decisions that are made by people in rooms that you don't always get invited to. And so that really inspired my need to want to be involved in my community. As mentioned by Commissioner Bates, I moved to the neighborhood January this year. We closed on our house and was very choosy in where I wanted to live. I believe diversity is our strength, and I wanted a part of Columbus that really embraced that. If I ever have kids, I want them to grow up in a neighborhood full of all types of different people, because I believe your neighborhood is your first teacher outside of your parents. Very passionate about social change. I've learned a lot in my role at the State House about different community connections, learned about a lot of nonprofits, and I'm amazed by the work that they do. And so my goal in wanting to be a commissioner is to continue that, I guess, learning that I've begun with my role at the State House to become more connected with folks to impact community change, and create a better Ohio, a better Hilltop. I'm new, but I'm very excited, very passionate, and very grateful to be here. And I really appreciate your consideration, especially with, I'm very impressed by just the history that's in this room. So even to be considered is very meaningful. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
My question, committee meetings or committees, which one will be your top one or two?
Probably planning and economic development or human services and education.
Commissioner Smith?
Kayla, I think you already know my question. You plan on?
Yes, I'll take a position.
Awesome. So we've now heard from all of the applicants. So we've got 4 of them that we're gonna have to decide on. So lunch jar, is ready. We'll start the process. So again, commissioners, you're going, it's gonna be rounds. So the first round, each commissioner is allowed to pick any of the 4. So we're gonna whittle it down till we get to 3. So first round, you're gonna have to pick somebody that you believe to be the best out of the 4. Then we'll go on to the next round. Best out of the 3, and if it's still somehow a tie after that, it'll be the best out of the 2. Does anybody have any questions?
METES. Oh, yeah. Yes, Nick Smith, SHA, BO, and ND.
They're not in the order.
That's okay, sorry, not a C.
Yeah, so CH.
Yeah.
And then out of my ADH, right, can you flip 2 and 3?
I'll quit right now. I don't want those old. One of those days, man. One of those days. Ooh. What did you want? Yes, this.
It goes Smith,
Smith, yeah.
Chapsky.
Siobhan, and Caleb, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this.
I mean-
I would make it a 50 trillion size too.
Okay.
Yeah, boom.
Oh,
Although.
No.
All right, so Georgia,
Different
do you want to do?
I got it full, hold on.
I'll go around I'll just probably start on my left and go around. Whomever, you name for your first, candidate, I have it here in the minutes. And again, we will, go around, if we don't get to.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so starting on my left, Commissioner Smith, how do you vote?
Ashley Chapsky.
Then Commissioner Marchand.
Yes.
Siobhan Mateen.
This is difficult, you all are very confident, Chapsky, Commissioner Maddox.
Nick Smith.
One moment. Thanks, Irene.
Siobhan Minty.
Okay, yeah, I'll stay with the top two if you, all right, Commissioner McKee,
Siobhan.
Commissioner White,
Wilkerson.
sorry, that was my fault. We both can take notes and access the document, which is why. Okay, Commissioner Howard,
Wilkinson.
Commissioner Bates,
Wilkerson.
Commissioner Barkus,
Mateen.
okay, Commissioner Carr,
Chapsky.
okay, and Commissioner Bates.
Ashley. All right, so we got 1 for Smith, we got 4 for Chapsky, we got 4 for Monteen, we got 3 for Wilkerson. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. Moving on to round 2, you are still highly we still highly recommend that you take the petition Commissioner Smith gave you and please run. Again, we'll have an election this year. We're moving into round 2.
Okay, and I'm gonna start in the middle just to spread this out and not get the same person. So Commissioner White will start with you. How do you vote?
Chapsky.
Okay, Commissioner Howard,
Mateen.
Wilkerson.
Mateen.
Commissioner Carr,
Chapsky.
Commissioner Fagan,
Chapsky.
then coming to Mr. Smith, Commissioner Smith,
Chapsky.
Commissioner Montana,
Siobhan Mateen.
Chapsky and Maddox.
Siobhan Mateen.
Sorry. Commissioner Amin
Siobhan.
and Commissioner McKee.
Siobhan.
All right, so we've got 5 for Chapsky and 6 for Monteen and 1 for Wilkerson.
Yes.
Correct, so thank you so much for Caleb Wilkerson. You do have a petition packet to highly recommend as you run. So we're gonna move on to a final round, which is round three, mainly because there was not a majority between the three. The top two. So again, this is gonna be between Chapsky and Mateen.
Okay, I'll start with myself this time. Chopsky. Moving to my left, Commissioner Montana.
The team.
Okay. Commissioner Smith,
Chapsky.
Commissioner Fagan,
Chapsky.
Commissioner Carn,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Barkus, Mateen. Commissioner Bates,
Mateen.
Commissioner Howard. Okay. Commissioner White,
Chapsky.
Commissioner McKee, Commissioner Amin. And Commissioner Madden. Mateen. Okay.
That's 5-7, Chapsky, Mateen.
Yes.
Sorry.
So it's 5-7.
No.
That's majority.
Yeah, no, 7 is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If no candidates, it's a garners a majority on the vote.
That's why there's 15 of us. We don't have to read the bylaws.
Yeah, if more than 2 candidates are seeking nomination to fill a vacant seat or election to an office or position and no majority favors a particular candidate after the first ballot, then any tie shall be determined by lot as defined in C, while any plurality would continue to the next voting round, which is what we did. Another vote shall be cast between the remaining candidates receiving the most votes on the previous ballot. If no candidate garners a majority on this vote, the previous procedure will continue until a candidate is selected and we've exceeded the majority.
Yep, simple majority. Yeah. Awesome. Congratulations, Siobhan Mateen, who have been appointed to the Greater Hilltop Area Foundation. Please doing your term, so myself or Alicia will get you the proper paperwork to fill out. And again, we highly encourage everybody who was nominated tonight to run. You have a petition packet and watch out because Mateen over there has an extra one that she's gonna find somebody else to run. So again, thank you for everybody. I know it's been a long night. Does any commissioners have anything else before we adjourn? Seeing none, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.